Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303. Introducing one co-host with more nuggets than Chick-fil-A, Nick Morahan. Executive producer until we find someone better, Eric Washington. Nobody really knows what he does around here, Nevada Putnam. And now, the single greatest thing to happen to hosting in history, Jermaine Antonio Colon Mendez. On with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into episode 202 of Podcast Room 303. I'm your host, Jermaine Colon Mendez. This is my co-host, Nicholas Morahan. And as always, we have with us the EPE. How you doing this evening, Nick?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. This is the first time I see. I said this last episode. I plan almost everything I'm going to say for every segment of this show, every little nugget, every little fact. And the one thing I don't plan is the thing at the freaking beginning of the show to kick off the show for a good start. And it just really has to be something I don't have to script. It's just like, hey, Nick, how are you doing today? I'm like, ah. It's like that scene in SpongeBob where he like learns to be the fancy waiter but forgets his name. And I can't find his name anywhere.
Yeah, I never really watched SpongeBob, but I actually know that specific scene that you're talking about. And you know what it is it's our generation has moved so far away from like just interacting with strangers that we're not used to somebody asking us legitimately how our day is.
Right.
So when someone does ask us that, we have no answer because we're like, what the hell do we say to that? Because everything else has been programmed in. And so when you get a question that you're unfamiliar with, your default answer is blank.
Right.
So with that being said, how are you doing this evening, Eric?
Doing good, man. Appreciate it. I have a quick question for Nick, actually. I'm watching this Vegas Knights Game 5 here. Mm-hmm. They were just watering the ice, and it looked like there was a chip in the ice or something. There was like a break in it. Does that has that ever like stopped a game? Like, how do they maintain the ice to make sure?
No, so a lot of arenas will have like AC underneath the ice.
Okay.
So they'll have basically like heat exchangers. So as hot as the arena gets, you're running water over cold piping, which keeps the ice cold.
Okay.
So basically, it's at the second that it. So like, if you notice, if you ever get the chance to go on like an NHL or really any ice, you'll notice that when you skate, you create friction on the ice, right? So it heats up the ice, but the surface is so cold that it just instantly freezes again.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that before, and I was kind of thrown off. I was like, I wonder if they'll have to stop the game if there's like a chip in the ice and people can't skate, but that makes sense. It'll freeze backward. That's why they were pouring the water on it, because it would freeze pretty much in a few 30 seconds, 45 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, I mean the only you get little like you get so that was an issue last year, remember? In Tampa Bay, the Avs were complaining about the ice because it was so warm in Tampa that the ice it wasn't like the ice was soupy almost like, when it gets like that and it's off, you'll freeze. I mean, the NHL ices are a lot like, like NFL playing fields, right? So like no ice is going to be similar. No heat, no system works at 100%. So,
okay.
You can have a field, you can have an NFL field like FedEx Field.
That's
just an NFL field like FedEx Field. That is just awful.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure there's fields like, or I'm sure there's ice rinks like that, but we don't hear, we don't hear NHL players bitching that much. I feel like NHL players of all the four major sports are kind of just like go out and play. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the ice sucks, but like, who cares?
Yeah, it was like that was a big talking point in last year's Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And I remember how pissed people were, and I was just like, well, I mean, that's the cards you're dealt there.
So if you but that's the thing. If hockey players start bitching about it, it's got to be bad.
100%. I mean, these dudes lose teeth and come right back into the game.
Right.
So That's crazy. All right, so on today's episode, we'll be getting into the U.S. Open, the golf tournament, and we'll also be discussing the NBA Finals 2023. The Stanley Cup Finals won't be discussed. We'll add that to next week's podcast, seeing as they're playing Game 5 right now. It is an elimination game, so if the Florida Panthers stave it off, they can live to fight another day. Based on what we've seen thus far, not something I'm confident in. Vegas Golden Knights are... Yeah, they feel like they're outclassing them on every level, including the goaltender.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad, right? It's they're benefiting from Florida playing like an 8 seed. Florida seems to have gotten to the Stanley Cup and then started playing like an 8 seed, which is really unfortunate. But you just see, I think we mentioned it. Nevada may have mentioned it. Vegas is just a cut above. We'll talk about it when we get to the NBA Finals. But it's kind of we've seen parallels between the two as we've moved through the postseasons. But it is both Western Conference teams have been just a cut above.
Yeah, I mean it you're watching both series and it's like, oh wow, it's a 1 seed playing an 8 seed. Right? Here's the thing. In the first round, when a 1 seed plays an 8 seed, they're supposed to win in 5. Right? They're supposed to sweep. They're supposed to win in 5.
Gentlemen sweep, yeah.
So why are we – it's like because we just saw them play for 2 months at an elite level, so much better than everyone else. It's now that they're losing to the 1 seed. It's just like, well, it doesn't make any sense. This team looks so much better than. Well, it's like, no fucking shit. Like it's a 1 playing an 8. I don't understand why you're confused by that concept. Now, right. that doesn't discredit how well the 8 seeds played, and we'll get into that later on, obviously with the Miami Heat. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Players can get hot for 2 months, and players are in the positions they are because they are talented. You don't have to beat me over the head and say they're undrafted all the time because they're still talented ball players. There are players who are drafted. There are number 1 overall picks in the league who played 5 years in the NBA. Right? The Cleveland Cavaliers have one of the worst number 1 overalls ever. Jamarcus Russell is one of the worst number 1 overalls ever. That might be a fun PCPA, by the way.
I'll add it in.
Worst first overall picks ever.
Worst first overall picks ever. Whoever can build the best lineup. I think that'd be pretty interesting. So, yeah. All right. With that being said, PCP has been mentioned. Let's go ahead and get into it. Today's topic is top 5 sports teams. Top 5 teams you would have loved to see win a chip but fell short. So, like. For example, Dwight Goodman's Global Gym Vipers. Today's order is myself, Eric, and then Nick. Without further ado, I'd like to submit my first pick. I will take the 2007 Colorado Rockies.
Yeah. Man.
For those of you who don't know the story behind this, the 2007 Colorado Rockies do what the Rockies do best. Get red hot in August and September, make a crazy run to the playoffs. And, well, in recent history, they flame out in the playoffs. But this year, they kept it together, and they dominated September, October, and set themselves up with a fat chance to play an AL team for, 4 wins away from a title, essentially. Well, that also so happens to be the year that the Boston Red Sox decided to, create history. They beat arch nemesis, the New York Yankees. After going down 3-0, they rattle off 4 straight. What?
That was 04 you're thinking of.
This was 3-1. Which one was this one? They just beat the Yankees?
I don't think they beat. I don't know if they beat the Yankees. Hold on. Keep saying.
Well, I mean that I can't keep saying if I don't know what team they beat. I thought the Red Sox beat the Yankees.
They did not. They beat. They won the division. They swept the division series over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim They won the championship series in game in 7 games over the 2007 Indians.
7 games versus the Indians. Okay, I had the wrong team.
The
Sorry, Vegas Knights just scored on a Florida power play.
What a goal, too.
I mean, the pause and the stick work in front of the goalie. Yeah, that was Mark Stone. So you had one of your shots on goal.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't think Jermaine is conveying this as poetically as he can. The Rockies were down in the division so bad that they needed to win 19 of their last 20 games to force a game 163 with the San Diego Padres just to win just to get into the division series. Right? This game 163 came down to the 12th inning, in which Matt Holliday totally touched the plate to walk off the Padres. He didn't touch the plate.
He did not.
Video replay was not invented then. They then went through, swept the Phillies in the division series, swept the Diamondbacks in the championship series, and got swept by the Red Sox 4-0 because they had to wait 10 days before playing the Boston Red Sox. Disappointing. Such a disappointing team.
Such a disappointing team. Specific year and team. Eric, it's on to you.
All right, so I'm going to stick in the same year and go with the 2007 Phoenix Suns.
Oh, I had them on my list as well. I had to give Nick the shout out on the first pick, though. All right. Yeah, that's the Steve Nash Phoenix Suns with Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, Joe Johnson, Leandro Barbosa, Boris Diaw. Just a veritable who's who of absolute dogs back in the 2000s. And they ran into the Tim Duncan dynasty San Antonio Spurs. And that's all she wrote. Steve Nash gets checked into a scorer's table by Robert Horry and causes mayhem and a suspension to most of the Suns' key players, ends up shifting the series into the San Antonio Spurs, favor. And the rest is history, to be honest. Now Tim Duncan is widely regarded as a top 10, top 12 player all time, perennially disrespected, maybe maybe the most underrated basketball player of all time because he didn't talk to the media. And that's kind of the same thing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think Kareem doesn't get enough love because he doesn't talk to the media. He didn't talk to the media, and now he does talk to the media. I just found out the other day he has a comic book. Yeah, that's I went to go buy it, and it was sold out. So save me some money. All right, Nick, on to you.
I'll just like you shouted out. Oh, Vegas just scored again. Jesus. Just like you shouted me out with my first pick, I'll shout you out with the first pick. 2010, 2011 Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. So we don't have to have a specific year, right? Because I didn't put specific years for all mine.
Oh, well, 2010 Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, I just picked like eras, the Derrick Rose Chicago Bulls. Like that's kind of how I wrote mine down.
That's right. Fine. That's fine because I have 2 Suns teams on my list, so 7 and 5 in case one was taken. But we can just do the eras. That's perfectly fine.
I have specific years, so I'll just keep it like that. But Bulls, Carlos Boozer, Luol Deng, Taj Gibson, Kyle Korver, Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose. Won the first round against the Pacers, won the conference semifinals against the Hawks, and lost 4-1 to the Heat after going 62-20 in the regular season. Jermaine, over to you for comment.
No comment. We don't mention Derrick Rose around me.
That's right. My second pick, I'm going to go with the 1980 USSR Olympic hockey team.
You do not wish that team won a title.
That team should have won a title.
Yeah.
Against a bum squad of U.S. amateurs, of course they should have won.
Yeah, but you don't want them to. It's who you would have loved to win a title.
I would have loved to see them win a title. The 1980 USSR, some of the greatest Russian hockey players ever assembled on a team.
If you
I could name them all, but we don't have time.
If you want to pick this team, then you also wanted Man City to win the UCL this past weekend. All right, so it's the same thing.
Ultimately, I would love to have seen Man City win. And I've told you guys both this multiple times. I would love to have seen Man City win. There is one man at the top that prevents me from – I should like Man City. They're the Bayern of the EPL.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
What?
They're the Bayern of the EPL. The way they play, yes.
Oh, the way they play. Okay.
The way they play, yes.
They do not – I thought you were saying they run EPL like Bayern runs –
No, Eric, they haven't won the EPL 11 times in a row.
That's what I'm saying. I got heated for a second. I was like, they're on a good run right now, but they're historically a shit team. But I get what you're saying. They're fast. They're aggressive. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, they're about to run the EPL though.
No,
except for Pep.
I love how everyone hates Pep. He's probably going to go down as the greatest manager ever. Look at them both, assholes puckered. All right.
It's just so sad because it's probably true that he's gonna be considered one of them. I don't agree. I think he's a piss poor coach, but
you lying ass bitch.
I think you could put fucking Nick out there with that squad and he can coach them up to a victory. But
whoa. Nick and I have led multiple teams to championships.
Yeah, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. I'll pull up Football Manager 14, show you exactly my credentials, Eric.
Hey, if that's what it takes, man. But
legend status. We know when to pull the super sub out.
Julian Beckler, dude.
Oh God.
All right, Eric, give us your second pick.
All right, with my second pick, I'm gonna do the 2022-23 Inter Milan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna do the 02 Mariners. Sticking with baseball, just because Ken Griffey is really, like, besides Barry Bonds as a kid, the only figure that I ever remember. And he was on that squad, right? The Ken Griffey. He wasn't on that squad.
No.
Dang.
And Ken Griffey left in '99. Alex Rodriguez left in 2000.
Was that the record-setting team, though?
Squad. You're thinking of the 2001 squad. Won
116. Yeah.
Won 116 games. Ichiro, that was Ichiro's first year. He was AL Rookie of the Year and AL MVP. Set the hits record that year.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. The 2001 Mariners, not 2002. My bad.
Bro, let me read you some of the guys on this team, by the way. Just guys that never won a title.
That's so sad.
Guys that never won a title. All right. Brett Boone was on that squad. Carlos Guillen, David Bell, Mike Cameron, Ichiro, Edgar Martinez, Jay Bruner was on that squad. Scott Posednik, Freddie Garcia was on that squad. It's a good team.
I had that on my list as well, so it was gonna get picked. God, stupid Mariners. 2010 Texas Longhorns.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, Colt McCoy gets hurt after just completely putting it on Alabama for the first quarter, and it looked like they had no shot. So, yeah, I'm going with them. That team was amazing. Jordan Shipley may be one of the best college football wide receivers in history. Well, maybe I'm super biased. Well, actually, I am super biased, but
I still remember that Colt McCoy hit, man, and just being like, "Oh, it's over."
Yep. We put in Garrett Gilbert.
I was gonna look up who the backup quarterback was.
Garrett
he
fucking
ended up starting, didn't he? The next year.
Yeah, but who cares? We don't talk about the 2010s Longhorns.
All I remember about that championship was being in the living room with my dad, seeing Colt McCoy go down, and my dad screaming at the top of his lungs saying, fucking, it's a championship game. You tape that bitch up and you go out there and throw. And then at halftime, they showed Colt McCoy trying to come out to the game, and he threw the football, and it went like 2 yards and just dropped.
Yeah, tape that bitch up. My man got murdered by a semi-truck as he was running out of bounds.
He could not grip the football, dude.
Yeah.
My dad just
I'm all for
screaming,
Papa Launch. Like, I get it. Football players these days are kind of a little bit of pussies, but, yo, he got hit. He got hit hard.
I must have not seen the same hit, Papa Wash, because my God. All right, very next pick, 2012 Detroit Tigers.
One of my favorite facts, every single member of that starting rotation has won a World Series and none with the Tigers.
Oh my God, dude. Here's the thing. From like 2007, you saw the rumblings coming of the Detroit Tigers. You're like, yo, this team might be pretty good, right? Might be pretty good. And then they finally punched through at the turn of the decade, right? 2010, they finally start winning division titles, back-to-back American League championships, and no World Series to show for it.
Bro, like, I'm just going to read you the top 12 players from Baseball Reference. Justin Verlander, Miguel Cabrera, Austin Jackson, remember that name, Prince Fielder, Max Scherzer, Doug Fister, Alex, I don't know who that is actually, Andy Dirks, Drew Smythe, Rick Porcello, Anibal Sanchez, Octavio Dotel.
Bro, just a squad, just an absolute squad of incredibly very good baseball players that just couldn't get it done.
With Jose Valverde as the closing pitcher.
Jesus, that Detroit Tigers team dropped the ball. They got swept by the San Francisco Giants. Although, I mean, that we all fondly remember that Giants team. So I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's stupid Tigers. All right, let's move on to your third pick, Eric.
All right. So with my third pick, I'm gonna rock with the 2002 Miami Hurricanes.
Damn, good pick. One of my picks. And Eric, feel free to explain why they're your pick.
Thank you. That's what I was like, yo, you're just
Eric, I got you. They came into the game with a 34-game winning streak. They had 4 All-Americans, 2 of which were not Kellen Winslow and Sean Taylor. They had 2 Heisman Trophy finalists, Ken Dorsey and Willis McGahee. And they got beat by Ohio State on a questionable PI in double overtime. It was so questionable that the field was stormed, and they had to kick the fans back into the stands. You guys remember that?
Yeah. I don't actually remember that, no.
They stormed the field, and they had to kick everybody back.
That's kind of crazy, dude.
It was a Fiesta Bowl, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring back the BCS. It was a much simpler time.
I like the tournament now. The 8 teams. Now that it's 8 teams, I like it. So
garbage.
Is it 8 or 12?
I think it's 8.
It's 8, right?
Yeah.
No, I like the tournament. Honestly, fuck it, dude. Play 6 regular season games and let's go fucking NCAA March Madness style bracket for the rest of the year. You just seed everyone based on the first 6 and just
funny. You're seeing Grambling State play Alabama.
Yeah, bro. Let's get it, bro. Actually, fuck that. Let's play 5 games and then 128 team tournament. Just every FBS or what is it? It's FBS, right?
FCS. Oh yeah, wait. Division 1, yeah, is FBS.
FBS, yeah, okay.
I think there's 162 teams.
So just a real quick correction. It's a 12-game. It's a 12-team playoff.
It is 12. That's what I thought. Yeah, because the four teams have buys.
I'm looking at this list, and I'm looking at my list. I'm going to keep it with a theme here. 2001 to 2002 was some great sports years. I'm going to stick my next pick, 2001-2002 Sacramento Kings.
Woo!
Okay.
Big 3, Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, Mike Bivy, a young Peja Stojakovic.
Man.
Lost in 7 to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
Absolute great series of basketball.
Yeah.
It's one of my fondest basketball series. That one and the Jamal Murray bubble Nuggets versus the Utah Jazz bubble, like Donovan Mitchell. Vince Carter versus Allen Iverson. That's one of the all-time great NBA Finals series. The Charles Barkley versus Michael Jordan NBA Finals in 1993. I mean, talk about two absolute heavyweights throwing blows at each other.
And still has one of the coldest lines given to the media when Jordan was like, I only packed one suit.
You see Jokic's? He's like, never doubt the fat boy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, bro. And then, like, I was watching his post-game interview, and he was like, the job is done. Now we can go home. And I was like, I was like, KG, move over, bro. This is the new quote. This shit. I was like, that's so hard. And then, all right, that's NBA Finals coverage. All right, Nick, go ahead.
I'll stay with 2001. I'm going 2001 St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf. One yard away. 1 yard away.
Damn, that's a good pick.
1 yard away, the greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner, amazing story. Marshall Faulk, I think that was the year. Was that the year Marshall Faulk set at that time the touchdown record? 26 touchdowns or something?
I don't actually know, man. I would
Well,
like to.
Marshall, that was just that was a great team all around.
Oh, dude, there was so much talent. It's almost shocking they didn't win.
Yeah. They got beat by the upstart Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, the ups. Wait. No, the Tennessee Titans didn't beat them.
That year, right?
No, Tennessee Titans lost that 1 yard away.
Oh, did they get beat by the Patriots? Was that the Patriots' first?
That was the beginning of the Patriots era. That's why I hate that fucking year.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tennessee lost to.
Oh, it was.
And that year Marshall Faulk had 12 tutties running and 9 receiving tutties. So that puts him at what?
21.
21? Yeah.
21.
Oh, the Rams won in 99 over the Titans.
Yeah, that's exactly that's the game you're talking about. So you want the 99 Tennessee Titans then?
No, I still want the 2001 St. Louis Rams. The greatest show on turf didn't win. You had a chance to end it. You had a chance to send Tom Brady to the scrap pile, and you couldn't do it.
He won in 99, though.
Brady?
Right. No, the Rams.
I know, but you had a chance to Brady.
All right. It doesn't matter. Eric, give us your next pick.
So for this one, it's more just about wishing I had been able to witness history. I kind of wish the 03-04 Lakers would have won the title instead of getting beat down by Detroit. Simply because I would have liked to see Shaq and Kobe get the four-peat. Never having seen that done before for that aspect. So I'm going to go with the 04 Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, it's because they hated each other, Shaq and Kobe. If you listen to the national media, they hate each other, so they couldn't play together.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. Oh, man, there's so many teams that just got to me. I will go ahead and take the 2016 Golden State Warriors.
Good pick. 73 wins, right? Most all time.
73 wins, and the NBA stepped in and gave LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers the title they so deserved.
A little bit of a questionable Draymond dick punch call, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You could step over people. That's not super disrespectful or anything.
And Draymond definitely wasn't trying to shove LeBron off when he accidentally touched his junk.
Nope. We don't. No room for context and nuance.
Nut punch suspended for the whole season.
Yeah.
World Series.
He only got suspended one game. He came back for the final two, but the momentum had shifted, and the NBA made sure of that.
Was that the block series?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, in Game 7, LeBron had the block, and then Kyrie hit just one of the nastiest steps.
The dagger. Yeah.
One of the nastiest step backs you ever see. I mean, it's dope. Cleveland got the dub. Kyrie, LeBron got that dub. Made the rivalry feel like a rivalry, even though it wasn't. But yeah, I'll go with that one. And then, so do I pick the New England Patriots that would have gone undefeated? Or do I pick the 2001, 2002 New Jersey Nets with Jason Kidd?
It's a good question.
And so that's what I had to see here. I didn't think all these teams would get to me. So I will go ahead and take, what is it, the 2007 New England Patriots? Or
2007, correct. 18-1.
So I'll take the 2007 New England Patriots just to round out my list. of absolute dominance, and I'm going to win PCP again. And it's like you guys don't even try.
Dude, this fucking guy, bro.
I mean,
you guys can try.
he's right. I don't even try.
Yeah, I just show up, pick some random things, and just call it a day.
I'm batting 1,000 in PCP, bro.
All right, with my final pick, I want to preface this by saying that we're not. One of the caveats for this was you couldn't pick your own team because my number one pick would have been the 0-1 Lakers. Just want to put that out there. 0-1 Sixers.
I was going to say, you're a Lakers fan now?
Yeah, the 0-1 Lakers won, Eric.
Yeah, they did, unfortunately. But with my last pick, I'm going to go with the 2012 Thunder of Oklahoma City. Because, one, I think if they would have won, they might have been able to stay together. And that would have been awesome. And two, because LeBron would have one less ring, which would make me even happier. So
no chance that team's staying together.
What are you talking about? They could have paid him into the luxury tax.
Yeah, for like a couple of years. I just don't think that team's staying together.
The egos are unreal, bro.
Yeah. Who'd they lose to, Eric?
The Miami Heat.
Oh, they made it to a finals, right?
Yeah, they made it to the finals and lost to the Miami Heat. That was the redemption year for LeBron after getting bummed out by Dirk Nowitzki for, 5 games, 6 games? 6 games.
It was 6 games, yeah. But they made fun of Dirk for having an illness, and then he dropped 21 and 11 on him. and got the dub.
I'm going to finish my PCP 1990 Buffalo Bills. Probably the closest that they've ever gotten. The New York Giants were up 20-19 in the final seconds. Scott Norwood pushed the field goal right. The Bills would never get back to a Super Bowl. Oh, wait.
Bro, so here's my question. They made 4 straight Super Bowls. Is that not considered a dynasty?
You got to win to be a dynasty.
They did. They won the AFC 4 times.
Maybe they're an AFC dynasty.
It's dynasty-like.
I'm just saying, when's the last time we saw a team win 4 conferences in a row? Was it the Eagles? In
the NFL, it was the Eagles. But if we're talking sports, the Cavs just did it. The Warriors just did it.
No, 4. What do you mean? 4 Western. 4 Western conferences for. Yeah. The Eagles didn't go to 4 Super Bowls, did they? With Donovan McNabb?
No, we went to 1 Super Bowl with that issue.
Yeah, so then the Eagles were wrong. I don't know why I said the Eagles. Bums.
I mean, I think it's a good. I think it's a good point.
I ask this all the time because it's like, yo, why does Jim Kelly get no love as when we talk about like best quarterbacks?
Those Super Bowls gave him cancer.
Bro, he stressed about it so hard. He got cancer. It's not something to laugh at or anything, but like seriously, it ate him up so bad. It fucked with his internal shit. I mean, he beat it, so it's dope, but
right.
And he won the fight that mattered, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I just like, dude, like, should we not talk about this Bills more fondly? I guess not.
I just think you have to be a champ to be a dynasty.
America also hates its winners. Nick just picked the USSR Olympic team.
It's a team I wanted to see win.
So on my other list, so I pivoted away from my list because I put eras. I put the Reggie Miller Indiana Pacers. Mm-hmm. I thought that would have been fire. And then I had the Jimmy Butler Miami Heat. I mean, 0-2 in NBA Finals. I don't know if they're getting back. And then Eric already took the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash. So I'm trying to think of any other honorable mentions. Maybe the Carolina Panthers in pick a year.
Yeah,
Which one? Jake Delhomme or Cam Newton, bro?
I got a couple. 2004, 2005, 2015, 2016. I don't know. Take your fucking pick. 2008 when we lost to the Seahawks. I don't know. Fucking take your pick. 1995 when we lost to the Green Bay Packers. Or now it was 96.
Yeah, and why do you guys suck?
We were great up to that point. Up to the point of sucking.
Yo, you have Bryce Love now.
Sick.
Jesus, dude. You guys are the worst to talk to about your own teams. I'd be hyped to have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, the last number one pick we got was Cam Newton. So maybe I should. I'm going to give it the Cam Newton treatment. I'm against it for a year. If he wins, I'm good.
Yeah, the NFC South, when we do futures for the NFC South, is going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyways, Eric, read us back the lists, tell them why I won, and then we'll move on to head-to-head.
All right, so for today's pop culture pick'em top 5 teams, we would have loved to see win a chip. Fell short. Jermaine had the first pick, went with the 2007 Rockies, 2010 Longhorns, 2012 Tigers of Detroit, 2016 Warriors, and 2007 Patriots. I had the second pick, went 2007 Suns, 2001 Mariners, 2002 Hurricanes, 2004 Lakers, 2012 Thunder. Nick had the third pick, 2010 Bulls, 1980 USSR Olympic hockey team, 2001 Sacramento Kings, 2001 St. Louis Rams, and the 1990 Buffalo Bills.
I mean, come on. I won. Nick picked a country that doesn't even exist anymore.
So they should have won.
Pretty true.
I just looked it up, by the way. That was their 1 silver in the Olympic Games between 1964 and 1988. They won gold every other year.
Jesus, every other 4 years.
Every other Olympic, yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit, that's impressive, dude.
Yeah.
Wave that flag, baby, America, you bitch. All right, Eric, walk us through head-to-head.
All right, so last week we concluded week 22 of our head-to-head. Some of us still haven't been able to turn it around. Some of us broke some streaks. But Jermaine finished the week 2-1, bringing him to 26-34 on the season, down 7.85 units. Yeah. Nick finally broke his 13-game losing streak with the Inter Milan and Manchester City under. He did go 1-2 on the week, bringing him to 20-39-1, down 9.35 units. I went 1-2, bringing me to 25-35 on the season, down 6 units even. And Nevada went 1-2, bringing him to 24-32-1, up 2.8 units.
Because he hit the Belmont Stakes winner, Angelo,
at plus 800.
Plus 800.
All right, let's start with me. Hit a plus 220 bet in the UFC. Shout out my boy Braden, who trains with Steve Ergek. I had, I guess, what you would call insider information on this bet.
It's insider trading. Strike it.
So Steve Ergek, right? He put me on, told me he's really, really good. I went and watched a YouTube fight of him when in the I forget what the championship or the promotion is in Australia that he won, but it was an absolute banger of a fight. Here's what's awesome about him winning this fight. Short notice, took the fight on short notice against a top 10 ranked opponent and won by decision. Yeah, eat your heart out. It was his debut. So for those of you listening, anytime you see Steve Ergek on the card, if he's at plus money or minus 110, 140, I recommend riding the line. If not, look into potential decision bets. He's going to be an absolute stud coming out of there. Also,
does he fight in, Jermaine?
What division? I'll have to double check for you. I don't remember off the top of my head. Give me 1 second. Also, the Chicago Cubs, right? I mean, talk about the wrong day to take Cubs money line. They actually lost. So on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, it was 13-3. So if I had Chicago Cubs plus 9.5, I still would have lost. So that's how bad the bet is. As far as the UFC goes,
he is a flyweight with the nickname Astro Boy.
I mean, that's a pretty good nickname. I feel like it's already been used before, though. All right, let's get into Nick's real quick. I just want to point something out for the listeners. Nick is 1 loss away from doubling his win total.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Here's the problem. I searched high and low on DraftKings, and I could not find either team to score by a header. Like method of goal header was not on DraftKings. I'm starting to get real fed up with DraftKings. But Bernardo Silva had scored 2 goals. 2 of the 4 City headers that they had scored had been Silva. And at plus 2,800, I mean, that's if I hit that, that's skyrocketing me. Right?
Yeah, but it's plus 2,800 for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. So remember,
Angel of Empire was 4th. He was a neck and neck race away from finishing in the money. And then Intercity under 2.5 goals. I mean, it feels good to break the streak. And today I might go 3-0 today to start off a new week. So we're feeling good. Eric, put a plus in front of that 100. I don't want minus 100. I want plus 100.
Just put even. If it's 100, just put even. Yeah, and then so let's move on to Eric here. Eric had Aaron Gordon over 1.5 steals plus blocks, which not hitting that bet feels wild.
Right.
He hit it. I went and checked. He hit it in every other game in the series.
Of course he did. That's how it works.
So
I looked at this and I was just like, he lost that bet. I was like, that can't be right. I thought for sure that would hit, dude. He just needed 1 of each or 2 steals. I just don't get that.
He had 0.
He didn't even record
record a defensive statistical stat in that game, or a defensive stat in that game. Not one
statistical stat.
I don't know where my mind was going there, but he did not record 1 defensive stat, bro.
ATM machine statistical stat. Yeah, but that Jimmy Butler and Jamal Murray 60+ points combined on the same game at plus 270 hit. That's a fun fact. Every single one of us hit a plus money bet this week. Nick's was 105, so I guess we'll count it. Everyone else was above 200. And that actually shifted your unit total fairly well. And then you had a completely erroneous bet. I've been telling you for months that City would win the Champions League. And you still took Inter Milan, and it didn't cash. So I'm not sure why you're shocked there. Last, we have Nevada. Tried hitting some prop bets in the NBA Finals on 2 different occasions, right? Wednesday and Friday. Was wildly unsuccessful with Gabe Vincent and Michael Porter Jr. And what's funny is he picked the one game Michael Porter Jr. didn't have a double-double. I think game 3 and game 5, Michael Porter Jr. had over 10 rebounds and a double-double. So, again, that's classic. Game 4 seems to have gotten both Nevada and Eric. That Arcangelo to win. First of all, Nick couldn't pronounce it, so that was a highlight of the last episode. Nevada rides the mispronunciation all the way to a plus 800. I mean, it's got to feel good, right?
I even got texted by my father saying, like, hey, this is how to pronounce it.
How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Well,
he was like, he said, you know, in typical my father fashion, he goes, you know, this is not how you pronounce it. The way you pronounce it was not how you pronounce it. So I said, well, how do you pronounce it? And he goes, well, it's like Archangel, but with an O at the end. So thanks, Dad.
So Arcangelo?
I guess.
I mean, that still sounds wrong. Well, I'm gonna have to go watch. I missed the Belmont Stakes. I'll go watch it and see what the announcers say when he wins, so that way we know. Because Arcangelo, I feel like the O at the end would make it Angelo, right? I love how we're back on this conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up head-to-head. Nevada's plus units. I have the most wins. Neither of us really count because we're both shit at betting. Remember podcast motto, #FadeUs. Let's go ahead and get into the U.S. Open, Nick.
So, yeah, Jermaine, 2023 U.S. Open. It's the 3rd major of the year. It's being played for the first time ever at the Los Angeles County or Los Angeles Country Club. It is a par 70. It measures 7,530 yards. If you guys are on social media at all, you saw very famously the rough around the greens and how thick it is. You drop a ball in it and it basically disappears into that Bermuda grass rough. They have Bermuda grass fairways and they have bent grass greens.
Speaking of, I need to do some manscaping.
That would have been a great time for a sponsor, but unfortunately we're not. So this course was designed in 1921. It was renovated in 2020. This is the first major championship that's ever been held at the Los Angeles Country Club. It did hold the Walker Cup in 2017. 156 players will compete. Only 60 make the cut.
Holy crap.
It has decently wide fairways, plenty of hills and runoff areas into that thick Bermuda grass rough we talked about. So there's a couple of key metrics that we look at, and we put into our very official Room 303 PGA golf model. So we're looking at shots gained on the approach, shots gained off the tee, and shots gained around the green. We also throw in a little bit of recent success. When we combine these metrics, it spits out a top 20 for you, or it spits out a top 20 players in the field. I just want to cover real quick some of my bets that I found pretty interesting, and then we'll get your guys's take on it. So, I think this is Scottie Scheffler's tournament to lose. I think he's been playing great. He has the crazy thing is at the Canadian Open last week, he finished second. He led the field in shots gained off the tee, shots gained around the green, and shots gained on approach. Lost 8 strokes due to his putting and still finished second. He's had, in the last month, he has had 4 top 5 appearances.
Yeah, he's been hot.
I think he is far and above the favorite going into this. Eric, did you post the odds at all?
I do. I haven't pulled up. I just haven't shared it yet while you were talking.
What is Scheffler in the to win it?
To win it, he is plus 650.
So plus 650 to win it. I like that for him to win it. Another guy I'm looking. So we're going to discuss winning. We're going to discuss top 5, top 10, and top 20 bets here. A guy that I like to see a top 5, who's also been playing pretty well lately. John Rahm, right? Or not playing well lately, so that's probably why he's flying under the radar. But John Rahm is very good in shots gained on the approach and shots gained off the tee. His around the green kind of suffers a little bit, but he makes up for it in the approach and off the tee. He's right now, Eric, his top 25 or his top 5, correct me if I'm wrong, is plus 225, plus 210 up on the screen. That's excellent value for John Rahm, one of the best players in the world, plus 210. A guy I'm looking at top 10 that
Florida just scored, by the way.
Oh, the Florida Panthers just scored. Okay. A guy that I'm looking at that seems pretty good, that gives pretty good value. Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka, obviously live guy, plays, again, great approach player, great off the tee, is in the top 20 in the PGA in his last 20 rounds around the green, and has had 1 top 5 in the last month. He's plus 130 to make to be top 10. He's a guy I'm looking at, and then someone who I think if I were to pick a dark horse, and he's a guy that I picked very early in the week to win, Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland plus 1,800 to win. He's basically what we'll call him a baby Scottie Scheffler, right? He plays really well approach. He plays really well off the tee. His putting really isn't that good, but he's had 2 top 5s in the last 30 days. Going on that same vein, Tyrone Hatton, Sungjae Kim, And then a name that I'm going to throw out there that not a lot of people, if you really want to take a flyer, Podrick Harrington has had 2 top 5s. Podrick Harrington, I believe I looked it up, was plus 10,000 to win the tournament. That's kind of a ludicrous bet, but he is plus 815 to finish in the top 20. You might just search Harrington, Eric. That'll probably be quicker.
Podrick, what a fire name, dude.
So Podrick Harrington plus 35,000 to win the tournament. That's kind of like a shot in the dark player, but he does have 2 top 5s in the last month.
I smell head to head.
He plays really well around the green. If you want to take a flyer on him, stay on his name, Eric. He's plus 2,000 to make the is that top 20, Eric?
Top 10.
I have him at 815 plus 815 to make the top 20 here. Definitely a guy to look at. Some other guys that there's not a lot of guys that check all 3 boxes. Interestingly, Scheffler and Brooks are kind of the 2 guys that check the 3 approach off the tee and around the green shots gained. I would really say, I mean, Brooks is what? Brooks is a plus 12,000 to win it, or plus 1,200 to win it. What are your guys' thoughts on the U.S. Open?
I love how you're like, oh, Jon Rahm and Brooks Koepka are under the radar, and they are both the last 2 major winners. So Jon Rahm won the Masters, Brooks Koepka won the PGA Championship. So I don't know if under the radar is the appropriate selection there, especially when I'm looking at the board and their top 3.
Yeah, I mean those are. I mean this is just indicative of the U.S. Open conditions. I mean, you look at the past winners of the U.S. Open. Matt Fitzpatrick won it last year. He was 6 under. Jon Rahm won it in 2021. He was 6 under. Bryson won it in 2020. He was 6 under. Gary Woodland won it. He was 13 under. Brooks Koepka won it the 2 times before that. He was 1 over and then 16 under. This course, and they've never played. You're seeing these odds so high because you've never played a major at Los Angeles Country Club, right? We've seen the things on social media. I don't know if that's having an effect. This is pretty high for a major. We were looking at Masters that you'd say plus 300, plus 400. What we're looking at, I'm saying they're flying under there's a lot of value, I guess. Maybe not flying under the radar, but there's a lot of value in guys. Even Scheffler, who's dominating the metrics, at plus 650. That's almost an auto bet for me. Just throw some pizza money on it. Pick your guy, right? Pick your guy. Yeah. Who knows how he's going to play? First time course, wide fairways. I mean, you don't even see Bryson in this list. Eric, scroll down until we see Bryson DeChambeau, right? He was the darling 3 years ago.
Just after Cam Young.
Keep going.
There.
Right there. Plus 4,500, Bryson DeChambeau. Like, this guy can drive the ball, and with wide open fairways, right? You and playing pretty decent for approach, like, man, you really hate to bet against a guy like DeChambeau, especially when he has the top 5 in the last 30 days, in the last month.
Where's Max Hama on that Room 303 model?
Great question. I know he did win it as an amateur. He's not on it, and this has 45 names ranked.
Jesus, he must not be playing well. Yeah. So Max Hama was the name that I was looking at coming into. You've already mentioned Victor Hovland, and then Colin Morikawa. I think he's just fantastic at golf. So you can always get tremendous value there. Top 10 finish plus 300. I mean, that to me sounds great. Also, I might put a little money on Dustin Johnson at plus 3,500. I just feel like he's better than what he's performed lately, and this might be the course that knocks a lot of the other hitters out, and DJ can sneak in where no one's expecting him.
Yeah, DJ and the model predict we have him around, outside the top 30, but you can't count him out, right? He's a major player. A guy to watch, Rory, right inside the top 25. Tony Finau, right inside the top 25. I'd say guys like Cameron Young, he's inside the top 30. Guys that can make a run. Corey Connors, right? Was playing near the top at the Canadian Open. He projects to be in the top 40, right? Ricky Fowler, don't forget about Ricky Fowler, right? He should be inside the top 20. Justin Rose is playing fantastic golf right now. Don't be surprised if he comes inside the top 10. So, yeah.
Yeah. Fade Cameron Spieth, by the way.
Jordan Spieth.
I think he's terrific right now, but he's hurt. And so I wouldn't put any money on him to win it all. He still continues to perform. I think PGA Championship, he was top 20 despite being hurt.
I believe he was too. Yeah, he was in contention for the the Open last week until his final round.
Yeah. And so that's just, I'm just not confident in betting on him to win anything. You can bet him to place or show, but definitely don't pick him to win it all. So
there's a Chilean guy named Mito Pereira. If you scroll down, Eric, Mito Pereira right there, right under Corey Connors. Mito Pereira plus 8,000 to win. Plus 1,400 top 5, plus 1,600, plus 600 top 10. Watch out for him, right? He's fourth in the PGA over the last 20 rounds in approach shots. He's third off the tee. He's right outside the top 20 around the green. And he has a top 5 in the last 30 days. He's kind of a guy that if I'm not going to bet him right now at plus 8,000. I think that's a little high, but after round 3, if he's sniffing around top 10 and he's within a shot based on how he's been playing, it's definitely a Sunday bet for me.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you put it in at plus 8,000 though?
Because I don't think he's going to win.
Oh, okay. If you think he could, I would rather take him at plus 8,000.
He's a guy to watch come round 2, come round 3. Watch how he plays the first round. If he handles this course well, if he makes the cut, definitely take a look at putting some money on him to win, because he is near the top of the PGA in strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained in approach.
All right, who are we betting to not make the cut?
Is Tiger Woods on there?
Is Tiger Woods playing this?
I don't think he is. No.
Yeah, miss cut. I'm just curious, dude. I would like to miss the cut.
Miss cut.
Trying to see if we can't find some value. Justin Thomas plus 170. I don't think he misses the cut.
I would almost say, like, what's the value on Max Homa to miss the cut?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because you
240.
Yeah, I would even say Max Homa to miss the cut.
240, even though he's previously won here, you don't think that has any sort of juju?
Nah.
Ooh, to make the cut parlay, dude. So McIlroy, Hovland, Koepka, and Thomas as plus 125.
So Justin Thomas is kind of the only one that's a little scary there.
McIlroy, Finau, Cameron Smith, Shane Lowry, plus 210.
Oof.
Cousin to Mike Lowry.
Who read the last name before Lowry?
Cameron Smith. I don't think you have any issues with Cam Smith.
Oof. Yeah, that's a little scary. I think Cam Smith is the scary one for me.
Eric has one highlighted of people that you specifically spotlighted.
Patrick Cantley, Hatton, Kim, and Mito Pereira also 240. It's not a bad one. That Koepka, DeChambeau, Neiman, and Pereira also is a good one.
Some of these are interesting.
Yeah.
I might take a play on one of these just cause.
Yeah.
Yo, how do you say that name? Sahith Thigala?
Where is it?
It's Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed. Sahith.
Oh yeah, dude. I think he's an amateur actually.
Is that Indian?
Maybe. Maybe.
All right. Do you got anything else for the U.S. Open, Nick?
Nothing from me.
Ooh, nationality props. Asian winner, yes, plus 1,200.
He was born in Orange County, California, and went to Pepperdine University. But it doesn't say anything about his heritage.
Oh, okay. Dope. That's you born in California. It makes sense why you play golf. It's good golf weather here all the time. All right. Anything else for this?
Nothing for me.
All right. So that wraps up the U.S. Open. We're already an hour mark, boys. Let's just briefly touch on the NBA Finals, and we can get into it next week. So
Vegas just scored again.
Yes.
Well, I was behind. I actually saw the goal. Fantastic. The NBA Finals happened, if you haven't been paying attention. The Denver Nuggets took on the Miami Heat. The number 1 seed Denver Nuggets took on the 8 seed Miami Heat. And it ended in 5 games with Miami Heat stealing game 2 in Denver, but not being able to score very much. So, first of all, Nick, do you have your jersey?
I do not have my jersey, no.
Wow. You said you would wear it. You said you would wear it. Those were your words.
It's reflective of the attitude I have for the Denver Nuggets.
It almost makes me wish the Nuggets had choked.
I wish the Nuggets had choked too. Or at least given us a game 7. The thing about this series is that, and we touched on it at the beginning. It's really just every time Miami made a run, and it looked like they would pull away, and it looked like, we've seen this before, where Miami against Boston, who's a really good team, Miami against Milwaukee, who's a really good team. Miami had these teams against the ropes, and Miami knocked them out. It seemed like this was a Rocky movie with Denver, where Miami got them against the ropes, beat the shit out of them, and there's Denver still standing. Fight's not over. Bell hasn't rung yet.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So let's just look back at the Western Conference Finals real quick, right? So Denver had a 4-0 lead, and every single one of those games was close. The opposing team had the opportunity to steal the win and make it a series, and Denver found a way every single game to make the key championship-winning plays to ice that series 4-0 and move into the finals. That rest definitely helped. Jokic sprained his ankle in Game 4. Jamal Murray also sprained his ankle in Game 4. Bam Adebayo sprained his ankle in Game 5. I mean, these guys are all so banged up, and it's just kind of the war of attrition to get it done. Are you saying that Golden Knights scored again?
Yeah, this game is getting out of hand real quick.
Oh, yeah, they just scored on my screen.
In Vegas, up 4-1.
Oof.
This is what I wanted Game 5 to be like in Colorado.
Yeah, fuck you. You jinxed my bet, though.
Holy cow.
Damn. Hey, I picked the Vegas Knights to win it. I'm blown away with how good this team is. And this goes back to, on this podcast, I don't know what episode, Nick and I talked about Jack Eichel ending up on the Vegas Knights. It was like 2 years ago, I think, that he ended up, and he's finally healthy, and he has made a huge difference for this team. And that is the piece that put them over. It makes me even better that they beat their old coach on the way to this. So it makes me feel even better because fuck that guy. I don't think he's that good. That's a shot at you, Nevada. But yeah, let's get back to the basketball at hand. So Denver Nuggets just found a way to win every single game, and every single game was won just a little bit different, right? Jamal Murray took over, right, in the fourth quarter and just stretched the lead until it was too far. And then you saw that kind of championship moxie carry over into the NBA Finals, right? In game one, Denver played terrible and Miami looked outstanding. They just couldn't hit jump shots. Miami let that one get away. If they were making shots like they had done in all of the first three series, Miami probably wins game one and completely changes the complexion of the series. Game two happens. Denver makes no adjustments. They just think they're better than the Miami Heat, and they're going to get this W. Miami hits the shots that they missed in game one and steals game two on the road for Denver's first loss in the series, right? Michael Malone, right, comes to the press conference and absolutely crucifies his team for the second game in a row to the media. And that Michael Malone pressed all the right buttons to get this done correctly. And I just think he did an outstanding job coaching this team. And so game two lost, team gets called out. Game three, they respond. It's the first time that, Denver's defense, now it's not world class, it's not top tier, but it's the first time it showed up in the Miami Heat series. And, Denver actually put the clamps on the Miami Heat offense. And Miami kept running plays and they kept getting things open. They would miss a shot or they'd make a shot, but Denver would come down and answer against Miami's vaunted zone, against Miami's man defense, against Miami's blitzing coverage for the pick and roll. And there was nothing they could do for a Murray Jokic pick and roll. Game three cemented. Denver takes a 2-1 lead. And now game four comes. Game four, the Miami Heat have absolutely got to be kicking themselves. They have been lights out in clutch time games. And that is the difference between the Miami Heat making the NBA Finals and missing. When the game was in the fourth quarter and Miami was within 5 points, Miami did every single thing correctly. Whether it was defensive assignments, forcing touch shots, not giving any offensive rebounds. Miami, through the first three games, I think had like 25 turnovers versus the Nuggets, which is absolutely bonkers. 3 games, they have like 25 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like that's elite, right? That's more than 2 turnovers a quarter. And that's how Miami got here in the first place. They got more free throws. They shot better from 3. They didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't give up offensive rebounds. And those are championship-winning plays. That's how Miami got there. If you coach a team, that's what you're coaching a team to do. And in game 4, Nikola Jokic is in foul trouble. Aaron Gordon's in foul trouble. Jamal Murray had issues with fouls as well. And the whole question, this whole playoffs, was how would the Nuggets play when Jokic was sitting? Jokic picks up 5 with about 10 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. The Miami Heat are down 8. This is the time Miami always strikes and makes the run and takes the lead and never relinquishes it. But Jamal Murray said, nah, Jokic is good, but I'm good too. And he took the team on his back and generated good shot after good shot after good shot. And in fact, Jokic didn't come back until the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter in that game. The Nuggets lost 1 point while Jokic was on the bench. 1 point. The Miami Heat had the game exactly where they wanted it and just could not get over the hump. And that speaks to the quality of opponent in Denver, right? Denver runs a legit offense. They have legit schemes. Their players make cuts and play together as a unit. And that was the difference between the Mike Budenholzer Milwaukee Bucks, right? That was the difference between the Tom Thibodeau, always his teams don't have an offense, New York Knicks, despite the regular season statistics saying the New York Knicks had a top 5 offense. That's conflated because of the amount of free throws they would get, the limited turnovers, and the amount of offensive rebounds the New York Knicks get is amazing. It's all effort, energy, and hustle. That's how they ended up having that top 5 offense. Well, guess what? You can't count on that in the postseason. And the Miami Heat dusted them. And that was the one series. And here's what everyone forgets, right? They shot fantastic against the Bucks. They shot terribly against the Knicks because the Knicks are a great defensive team. Still beat them because the Knicks can't score against the Heat's defense. And then against the Celtics, it's a tale of two halves of that series, right? The Heat shoot lights out the first 3 games. They shoot terrible the next 3 games. And game 7's anyone's ball game. Jason Tatum sprains an ankle. Heat move on. So that's exactly how the Miami Heat got to the NBA Finals. Denver in game 4, Michael Malone does something that he doesn't rarely do. He goes small when Jokic gets hurt. Right, it's a small guard-heavy lineup. I believe it. If I'm maybe mistaken, but it was Jamal Murray, it was KCP, it was Bruce Brown, it was Aaron Gordon, and
who's a white guy,
and then Brown, right? Christian
Braun or whatever.
Christian Braun.
That's incorrect. They say his name Brown. Now it's spelled Braun, and I'm with you guys. That's how it should be said. But because his parents probably came from Germany, and they have that Braun name. They say Brown. I don't know why. It makes no sense because it's Braun, but that's what they say. Does
LeBron have a trademark on the name Braun?
You imagine? That'd be so funny. But that lineup worked. Michael Malone presses yet another great button against, the person nobody could stop talking about was Eric Spoelstra. So that's why I'm coming on here and I'm spotlighting Michael Malone, because Michael Malone outcoached Eric Spoelstra. Right? Yeah. Eric Spoelstra tried everything on defense, including lineups we had never seen the Miami Heat play. Like, he had Kevin Love, Caleb Martin, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler on the court at the same time. They ain't scoring buckets like that, but they were trying so desperately to stop the Nuggets that's what he threw out there. Tyler Zeller didn't play like the first 2 games, and then got thrown in and started getting more minutes. And Tyler Zeller got cooked by Jokic all series.
So my question to you, Jermaine, and I guess Eric too, as the basketball heads of this podcast, does Tyler Hero change this series?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How?
Yeah. So Tyler Hero, the one thing the Miami Heat were lacking, right, when Jimmy Butler was struggling, right? So Jimmy Butler started struggling. It looked like the injury caught up to him. Everything he did was in slow motion, right? One thing Tyler Hero affords the Miami Heat is he's one guy who can go and get his own shot, right? Tyler Hero is a certified bucket getter. Tyler Hero by himself, no offense run, can break a defense down, get himself a shot or get someone else a shot. And that's what you saw when Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler were both standing in the right corner. The left corner. There was literally in game 5 in the 4th quarter, Jimmy Butler gets the ball out of a timeout, takes a jumper, bricks it. They go down. Nuggets miss. They get the board. They come back down, and Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo both go stand in the corner. Those are your 2 offensive initiators. Both of them did not want the ball in the 4th quarter in an elimination game. Right, this was before Jimmy Butler went on a 12-0 run by himself. So, but you got to call a spade, right? If you're going to praise Jimmy Butler for all the dope things and great things he did in this postseason, you got to call him out. I'm curious to see what's going to go on with this injury, right? So LeBron, we found out about LeBron's injury. I suspected. Everyone else was saying that he got slow. I was just like, no, I think he's hurt. LeBron's hurt. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler. But everyone's hurt, man. You got to play, right? Being hurt doesn't mean you don't come get the ball. It doesn't mean you stop taking jump shots. Jimmy Butler repeatedly got into the paint in this series and didn't take the shot. Wasn't aggressive. Jimmy Butler scores a lot of his points at the free throw line. He wasn't getting to the free throws. He wasn't getting to his free throws to get his bread and butter. And the free throws is what makes his shot wet later on in the game because he's seen it go in. He's in a rhythm. He feels good about himself, right? But Jimmy Butler was shying away because he didn't have the same lift. He didn't have the same base. Everything he did was off 2 feet. The whole playoffs, Jimmy Butler was playing off 2 feet because Jimmy Butler got hurt in the Milwaukee Bucks series. That's what nobody talks about that either. He missed a game in that series. He got hurt. He sprained his ankle in the Knicks series, missed a game in that one. Right? So Jimmy Butler was dealing with a back and ankle issue. Everything he did was off 2 feet. Right? So you could literally put on tape of Jimmy Butler, and his footwork was, I mean, you could tell he was studying some Kobe Bryant tape or Michael Jordan, because he's in the paint, moving, pumping, and he would get a layup because everyone kept jumping and he was so scared. But Jimmy Butler couldn't explode off one leg, right? How are you taught to lay the ball up?
Off one leg.
Off one leg, because you can in stride, you can explode towards the basket, you lay it off the glass. If you go watch every Jimmy Butler play, he comes to a jump stop and then he goes up, right? And that's how Boston actually broke him down in those 3 games they did win, because Robert Williams, who had an illness in game 7, Robert Williams started guarding him, and when he would get to a jump stop, he would swallow up anything that Jimmy Butler was doing. To the point in game 6, which they still lost, Jimmy Butler started exploding off one leg. Every time he did it, you saw it took a toll on him, to the point where he's in the Nuggets series. He's got nothing left.
He looked tired. He looked tired.
So he missed so many shots in the front of the rim, right, in the NBA Finals. And then when he overcompensated, you see him explode a little higher in his jump. His ball would hit the back of the rim.
Yeah.
His base was compromised, right? Nobody's going to talk about it, and there's no excuses, bro. It's the NBA Finals, dog. Be hurt today, not in the game. But shout out to Denver Nuggets in Game 5. It's one of the best basketball games I've watched in a very long time. My goodness. There was a competitive fire that I haven't seen from 2 basketball teams on the court at the same time in ages. I mean, neither team, this was a must win for both teams. And that is how both teams played. Kyle Lowry, you go look at his stats, he's like 4 for 15. All 4 of them were 3-point shots. They were big time 3-point shots. I'm talking like shots like, did Kyle Lowry really just hit that? There was an offensive rebound. Kyle Lowry is about like 29 feet from the bucket. And when he goes to scoop the rebound, he looks at the clock on the other end of the court, turns around, knows it's a 2-for-1 possession to end the third quarter because there's about 33 seconds left. And he just takes the 3 like he's practiced all his life and sinks it from 29 feet. I'm just like, yo, Kyle Lowry, take a bow. I mean, you go look at the rest of his stats. I think he had over 7 rebounds. He had over 7 assists. He had a couple steals. Kyle Lowry played like an absolute dog. That is what you want from a point guard. Kyle Lowry proved that he's a truly great point guard. Now, he's not going to be finishing. We're not talking about GOATs and who's the best point guard. I don't have those conversations anymore. But Kyle Lowry had established himself as a truly good point guard. So, I'm sorry. I got sucked in there. Vegas Knights have scored again now in that whole rant that I had about the NBA Finals. I could literally talk about this series.
That was Coach Jermaine breaking down film. We need to incorporate the video board and NBA highlights in the future episodes of Room 303.
Dude, I love watching basketball. I love the ins and outs, the X's and O's, and how these coaches compete and change everything, and how the teams and the players will compete. I can call up moments and plays and all that stuff.
You and Eric can race to the big board.
We're gonna tie Eric's feet in cables.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so I bloviated about the NBA Finals. You guys got anything you want to talk about on this series?
I started you off on the rant. It's just, and now I'll bookend it by saying, like, Denver fought a Western Conference Finals and an NBA Finals to remember. I mean, punch and counterpunch is what the title of Denver's series should be. Get knocked down 7 times, get back up 8. I mean, there were times when you would see a team start to pull away, whether it was the Suns or whether it was the Heat, start to pull away with that 8, that 3-possession, 4-possession lead. Later in the third quarter, the start of the fourth quarter, when other teams the Bucks, the Sun, or the Bucks, the Celtics kind of withered. The Nuggets just kind of kept playing. They're like, hey man, just keep making jump shots. Keep making shots, keep sticking to our game. I think I said to you guys before game 5, like this is such a tough series to bet. Because if you're trying to bet the Nuggets side, like there was a game where they had the Knights just scored again. There was a game where, Jokic had 2 games where he had 4 assists. He had 2 other games where he had 17 and 13 assists. Like the Nuggets had, like you said, if they weren't getting production from him, they were getting production from somebody else. It was like every player would have a good game every other game, right? So those are my thoughts, at least.
Yeah, some fun stats. So Denver went 4-1 against the Timberwolves, lost game 4, right? They went 4-2 against the Phoenix Suns, lost games 3 and 4. From games 3 and 4 on, Denver went 10-1, right?
Jeez.
So, and here's the thing. Everyone's just like, everyone wants to say now that Denver was the clear best team in the NBA this year, despite them having a losing record on the road, despite them also not being the favorite against the Phoenix Suns in that series. Does anyone remember that? The Phoenix Suns were the favorite to win that series.
Yep.
And then they got crushed by 30 in game 6 because they have no fucking spine, right? Then they go and sweep the Lakers, who, might I add, was a very trendy pick with a lot of people, right? So now everyone wants to say that Denver was the clear-cut, favorite all year long. And it's like, how are you going to just change your fucking narrative when you were down? All I heard about was like, can the Lakers win a championship this year? Bro, most of the ESPN talking heads didn't even know Nikola Jokic was this good.
And they're the ones who vote for MVP.
Isn't that some shit, bro? Isn't that some shit? So someone just told you to vote Nikola Jokic all the other years?
They got it wrong.
He was good. Jeez.
So, and then shout out Jamal Murray, 4 straight games to open his NBA Finals career with a double-double, going over 10 assists in 4 straight. I believe he had 8 assists in game 5. Eric, can you look that up for me? Nikola Jokic, MVP, didn't even touch the trophy, didn't care where it was, just couldn't care less about any of the trophies. Was just there to drink beer, and he's upset he has to go to a parade. You saw that?
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess we'll wrap it up because we are talking about this, but that's kind of annoying to me.
No,
it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't know, like smile at least. Like, dude, you've already made you've already made your millions. If getting back to your horses is so important, why are you going through all this stress of an 82-game regular season plus however many games? Just go back to your fucking horses if you're not going to touch the trophy or care about winning. Like,
yeah,
give up then if you don't care.
It's just funny because Jimmy Butler and Nikola Jokic are just the anti-star.
Right.
They both really only care about basketball, and that's it, right? And they only care about playing basketball the right way. And so I can see your side of it. I think it's a unique charm to Nikola Jokic. Jokic doesn't want to be in the spotlight, right? He probably has never been in the spotlight in his life, and he's not comfortable there. And you can see it with the way he talks and carries himself. He doesn't want to be the spotlight. Every time they ask Jokic about himself, he talks about everyone else on his team. So, like, I can get both sides to it. I think it's a unique charm, and it's kind of refreshing coming from the stars of the 2000s and the 2010s because he's just the antithesis of it. And he came in and destroyed the foundation that American hoopers had established before, right? He's not the most athletic. He doesn't have an NBA body, and he's still out there. And he has probably this might be a overreaction because I just watched so much of Nikola Jokic. He has the best touch in the NBA. He may have the best touch ever besides Kareem. And that's saying something. But yeah, we're running a little late. Sorry. Thank you for everyone who's listening. We appreciate you for hanging through this. We're at the 124, almost 125 mark. You guys got anything else for the 10s and 10s?
Nothing for me.
Mm-mm.
All right. So follow us on YouTube. He says begrudgingly. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast Room 303. Follow our I guess sister pod. It sounds kind of odd to say it that way. Revenge of the Pod on all platforms that you listen to podcasts, and we'll see you next time when you come on down. Well, actually, hold on. Sorry. For Jermaine, Nick, and Eric, we'll see you next time when you come on down and step into the mix.